Well, hello, my friends. Our reading today in 2 Samuel chapters 10 to 12, we find a tragic event that took place in the life of David. You see, up to this point, things were going well. David was king over all of Israel. He had been winning the battles over the enemies. But the scripture said in chapter 11, verse 1, that it was a time when kings go out to battle. And he had sent his armies out, but he stayed home. He got careless in the responsibilities that he was given. And while he was home, he looked out and he saw a beautiful woman bathing. Her name was Bathsheba. He brought her in, had an immoral affair with her, and she became pregnant. And as we read the scriptures, we see where that in order to try to cover his sins, he had Uriah, her husband, killed on the battlefield along with other men. So there was not just Uriah. So David committed adultery, and he also committed murder. The scripture said in chapter number 11, the last sentence, it says, but the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. In chapter number 12, verse number 9, it says, you have despised the word of the Lord. In verse 10, it says, because you have despised me and have taken the wife of Uriah to be your wife. In verse number 14, it uses a different word, but it says, you have utterly scorned the Lord. So David got very careless in his relationship with God. And friend, it's so important that we are always aware of our relationship with God and not get careless, not presume that God will look on us and everything's okay. We've got to constantly be on guard against the temptations that the enemy throws against us and against the temptations of the flesh. Now, David repented. We can read this in chapter number 12, verse 20, where after the child that was born died, it says he worshiped the Lord. And that's exactly what he should have done. In this time of tragedy, in this time of grieving, he turned to God. He worshiped the Lord. And then in Psalm 51, you read the whole psalm. It took place when the prophet had confronted him. And there's a repentant spirit in this psalm in David's life. He says, create in me a clean heart. So friends, God forgives us when we fail, when we make mistakes. But David paid a penalty for this. You see, he was to lead his people in the right way, and he was an example, and you and I are examples, and there will be scars if we fail, and we've got to be very careful to live right, to act right, to love right, to be the right example, to represent God well. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.